afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Dave and Erik from Team PowerCast, Coldwell Banker. We are so happy to have you here in the PowerCast every Tuesday, 5 o'clock. We have a couple of great things to share with you. First of all, we're going to apologize for the change in venue and change in what we're talking about. Our good friend Ian from Vanguard Cigar Club, unfortunately, last minute we had to make a change. We'll be back. We will be back at his place sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Just not next week.
Just not next week. We have a very exciting guest next week. We'll talk about that in a few.
Yes.
But definitely very exciting couple of weeks coming up on the show. So we apologize for the change in events, but we have some great things to share with you. Please, if you're watching live on YouTube, go to our YouTube station if you're not already. Subscribe to Team Powerhouse Real Estate. We'd love to have you watching us there. We also have, of course, our Instagram page, Team Powerhouse Real Estate. We have our Facebook page. We have Dave Lamel. We have Team Powerhouse Real Estate.
TikTok.
We have TikTok. Yes, our TikTok, Team Powerhouse.
Are we up to 10,000 yet?
On TikTok, we don't.
Okay.
I would love to hit 1,000 people on TikTok. And I know that our friend Puff from Camouflage Clothing is going to help us do that as well. She was great to have on the show last week. She was funny, had some good laughs, and what an amazing entrepreneur she is, honestly. I was so impressed with her. That being said, we have a handful of things to talk about. First of all, we'll just brief on next week's show. Erik, why don't you take that away for us?
Yeah, so next week we will have Peter Anthony, who is a actor, producer, director. He's a cinematographer. He's a cinematic entrepreneur. He's venturing. Well, he's actually been doing it for a couple of years now. He's venturing into independent filmmaking, fan films, if you would. And I'm proud. I'm proud to know that he does this stuff. It's
not only that, but it's Erik's cousin, which is even cooler.
And I was trying to keep that a secret. We were going to reveal it on the show.
My apologies.
No, it's okay.
Great guy. Very excited to have him on. He's got a horror film coming up.
I heard you spoke to him.
I did speak to him. Actually, going to speak to him Thursday night to have a little more chat with him. I was in the airport when I was talking to him. I only had a few minutes to chat with him, but we're going to be reconnecting on Thursday, get a little more information, and then have him live on the show.
I know he was on Jonathan's radio show.
Yeah, he was.
How'd that go, Jonathan?
It went pretty well. We talked about horror movies and such that I'm pretty sure David would be too afraid to watch.
You know, I am definitely on the I'll call it sissier side when it comes to horror. I have to remind myself that the things are not real. That's the part that I have to get in my own mind.
You have to remind yourself?
I have to remind myself what I'm watching is not real, even though it looks so real. I never understood how to make these things happen. It's unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure, even at your advanced age, that if a guy was chasing you with a chainsaw, you'd be able to get away.
It's funny you say that because I always tell people, if you see me running, something's wrong. Because I don't run very often. If I'm running, you want to be in front of me. Trust me, something bad's happening.
I've never seen you run. I've seen you walk fast, but I've never seen you run.
Walking fast I can do, but running is definitely not my category of greatness.
I've seen David running before when I saw a snake.
That's true. When you saw a snake, I definitely ran. When it comes to snakes, I'll run. And that's one of those things that you should know that.
So snakes and chainsaws, got it.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Snakes and chainsaws. That's another funny episode to have right there.
No, but we had Peter talk about how he makes the effects and stuff. So he'll definitely talk about that on your show if you ask him.
It's going to be a Halloween spectacular show. First time ever.
Oh, that's right. Halloween's coming up.
Halloween is coming up. It's a horror film spectacular with nonetheless, a very impressive person to have on the show. So that being said,
you're going to go trick-or-treating?
I am actually going to go trick-or-treating this year because my daughter.
Yeah, you haven't trick-or-treated in a while.
I haven't trick-or-treated in a long time. Our daughter, who's 3, Drew, and she's actually very excited about Halloween.
Nice. What's she going as?
I'm almost positive it's going to be from, of course, her favorite movie, Frozen, one of her favorite movies.
Right.
She is going to go as the blonde. Oh my gosh,
blonde,
not Anna, but
Elsa.
Elsa is going to be. She's got a wig for her. We were out shopping a couple weeks ago. And then I think we were at Target. They had this wig that was so cute. And I bought it. And I said, when we got home and I put it on her, she got in the mirror and you could just see the smile on her face. It was unbelievable. She loved it. She didn't want to take it off. Anyway, so we're going to be Elsa for Halloween this year.
Cool. Now, you had mentioned you were talking to Pete while you were at the airport.
Yes, I was at the airport. I was
coming back from.
I just came back from Kentucky. If you are interested in bourbon, let me tell you something. And I mean bourbon. You enjoy drinking bourbon. You have to make it out to Kentucky. It is bourbon country. I want my buddy Chris and a friend of his, Aaron, to go to the Bourbon Trail. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I became educated on levels that I never even knew existed when it came to bourbon. The actual way it's processed from the beginning of like nothing, corn, wheat, rye.
Right.
The differences in how you
the barrels,
the mixing
stuff.
and matching of the different things and all these. We went to about 15 different distilleries. Either we went on tastings and tours or just tastings. And I'll tell you,
this is all in one day.
No, we actually flew out Friday morning, 6 a.m. We got a flight. We arrived by 12 o'clock. We had a little layover. By 2 o'clock, we got into our first distillery. We went to Buffalo Trace. Was our first distillery.
Is that Pappy? They make Pappy.
They do make Pappy, yeah. And it was unbelievable. There was just amazing as to what the process. You walk around these distilleries and you go to this thing called the Rick House, with these huge buildings where the barrels are stored. And you can smell this smell of like deliciousness. It smelled like baking bread. It was just unbelievable. Again, if you're interested, you know what we got to do? We got to bring somebody on the show who's a bourbon expert.
We fly them up from Kentucky, or
I would actually consider doing that. That'd be kind of cool because these guys are so solid. There was this guy named Austin from Bardstown Distillery, which is the number 7. They're 7th, largest distillery in the country. One thing I also learned about bourbon, if you don't know already, in order to be a bourbon, guess where it has to be made?
USA.
In the USA, which is also very cool. And 95% of bourbon is made.
Now, what is it if it's made outside of the USA?
It's a whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I learned a lot more things than my buddy Chris is probably smiling right now, listening. And, if
you're
Pat's
assuming he's watching.
He probably is watching, listening. I would hope that he is. And if he's not, we'll make sure that he gets to hear this one here. But it's definitely some things it's amazing, just amazing. I can definitely go on and on about it.
So we should either get a local expert on it.
Love to get a local expert.
Not just necessarily bourbon, maybe just a couple of other.
Maybe we bring in a beer, someone who knows how to make beer and does a distillery over here in Connecticut. That would be cool.
Yeah,
some local
a microbrewery.
Yeah,
hey, maybe we'll even get to do it on location.
If you're watching the show, okay, if you're interested in us having a bourbon episode, if you're interested in us having a microbrewery on the show, or maybe do a live one of there, please let us know. Tell us where you'd like to go live from. Any kind of questions you have about anything in that category. We'd love to make that happen for you guys. It's a lot of fun and learn a lot.
Yeah, if you're interested in seeing Dave drunk, intoxicated on bourbon, feel free.
Well, that definitely happened.
Do it.
That definitely happened. Definitely happened. I'm going to leave
you
it
have
at
videos
that.
From the trip?
There might be a couple of photos or videos that are out or not that may have occurred or didn't along the process. But I will tell you also, the food was fantastic. We tried to do a lot of local eateries. There's this place called Mammy's we found that did this phenomenal yummy food. Is anybody tuning in over there?
Jonathan's laughing.
Yeah, Danny said we should go live at Hooters.
That's my son Danny, live at Hooters. We could do a Hooters debut.
Maybe.
Danny loved Hooters growing up. His favorite food there was the cheese. What's it called?
No idea. I've never been to a Hooters.
Grilled cheese and grilled cheese and curly fries. Really, never.
Hand to God.
I'm
never been to a Hooters.
I think it's definitely something that has to be experienced. All right. Anyway, so getting off topic over here, let's talk about real estate a little bit. Definitely can go back to the alcohol because we can talk about that and enjoy the conversations about it. So let's talk about real estate this year and what's been happening a little bit. I know not every time we want to talk about real estate because we like to bring things on. They're exciting shows with local vendors. What Erik and I, as realtors, are predicting for this year and what's happened over this year in real estate. What we can tell you is the national median for home prices have risen at least 10% in 2021. So if you have sold a house,
but that's going to vary.
It's definitely going to
vary. For those folks that are like, okay, well, if you're expecting that you're going to be going to see a house in Cheshire or Madison or Clinton or something like that, and you're expecting a 10% increase from last year's market, that's Remember that 10% that Dave's talking about is an average.
Right.
It's a national average.
Right. It's probably going to
be higher in some places.
Definitely much. Good point. Definitely good point. We definitely.
I don't want our folks to be misled.
Right.
Yeah.
Towns where the school ratings are higher tend to sell much higher. It's one of those things that people look at all the time. If you're in a town where the school systems are a hot topic, it's interesting as you bring that up. How many times we talk to people from out of state who are coming in here and they have a list of towns that they are targeting based on school systems, right? And with that being said, those are the first ones to kind of go. But yes, so we're looking at least 10%. We think it's been happening from 2021 based on our statistics. But I definitely agree with you. What do you say if you were to tell me the hot towns? Would you say 15%, 20%?
For year to year, you mean?
Well, let's go from 20 to 2021.
Yeah, year to year. I would say, now I haven't had folks in every market. So, but I know, for instance, South Windsor.
Yes.
South Windsor, not a town that you would have immediately come to the conclusion had a great school system, but fantastic school system.
Yeah.
And it's a bumper crop. It's crazy. I've been showing houses in South Windsor, which is not exactly right around the corner.
No.
But been showing houses there for the better part of 3 or 4 months now, with a couple of groups, and you can't get anything. Can't get anything.
It's amazing how there's different areas across the state: Harford County, Litchfield County, Haven County, Fairfield County. The market has changed so much in a lot of these counties. Where Fairfield County a couple of years ago, you couldn't sell a house there. There were houses that were vacant everywhere, and now, boom, explosion.
Yep.
And then even towns like Waterbury, Meriden, boom, explosion. You were just making offers in a house in Meriden, multiple offer situations in every house. He had a buyer putting down. Ready for this? Actually, you tell him.
No, a buyer putting down $80,000.
$80,000. And what was the asking price?
210. So it was 209. We were $15K over ask, with $80,000 down, giving him a $5,000 deposit at the onset and another $15,000 deposit after a successful inspection, which should have
been sweet and easy.
Told the seller, this is a very serious buyer, not walking away from a huge chunk of cash, and we still didn't get it.
Didn't get that 80,000. That's almost 50%.
Yeah.
That might be like 40%. And on top of that, you have an offer 15 over asking. This is just in craziness. And you know what? What's another thing I'm going to see in 2022? I expect it to go up another 5, maybe to 10%. I'm going to guess at least nationally.
For next year?
Yeah, for next year. I think at least 5 to 10%. But it's going to be an interesting situation because right now we have no inventory. It's the fall, and there's so many people shopping. And with that being said, we need homes. We need homes for the winter market for these people, because if you're thinking right now, the most serious buyers, they're not ready for school. They're not, needing for any specific reason other than they need a house. I've got a handful of buyers myself that are looking right now. We just closed on their house. They're living with family. And they've been stressed out the whole time getting to this process.
Yep.
Don't be stressed out. Relax. We got you. We're going to help you get through it. It's important to trust your realtors, whoever they are, and hopefully that with their experience and knowledge, you're going to feel more comfortable through that process.
One of my clients asked me, a couple of them have actually asked me, they asked me, do you expect a crash? Do you think that we should wait, and then there's going to be like what happened in 2008 where people are just going to default,
right?
People that are buying houses for whatever the reasons, and I'm sure they're all valid reasons that people are buying houses, whether it's the exodus from New York or, whatever it is. But I told them, I said, I don't foresee it being the same.
I agree with you 100%.
I don't foresee it being the same. And I know we had talked about it before the show.
Yes.
And you had looked up some of the reasons on
Yeah.
why that is.
We're looking at, we're short by 4.5 million homes in this country. We're 4.5 million homes short, okay? Which means it's going to take 4 to 5 years at least for the market to kind of settle.
So is that the number of buyers versus the number of homes available?
Oh, yeah. That means that we need like at least 4.5 million homes at least There's so many buyers shopping in all markets, in all states. Our buddy Brad in Pennsylvania over there, they're dying. They're dying for inventory. They got people coming from all over the states.
And the funny thing is, we thought last year was crazy. So I was looking at some stats. So for March of 2020, the average days on market for a house was 29 days, which, remember, that's a national average, right? So you're going to have homes that are on the market for 2 days.
Yes.
You're going to have houses on the market for 120 days.
Right.
So it's those longer houses that bring the curve down.
Yes.
April of 2021, it was that the average days on market was 17 days. That's a national average. That is ridiculously short.
Especially when you have, let's say, the Midwest and the southern states compared to what's going on in the Northeast over here.
Florida, you can't forget about it.
Right, forget about it. Homes are,
I know the license is reciprocal, right? I'm thinking of.
They are reciprocal. To a point, you got to.
What does reciprocal mean?
It means you can use it in both spaces, but more important, you got to get
you still have to take the test.
The state test you have to take for sure, which makes sense because they do things a little differently down there.
So, and I'd be interested in knowing what the average. So it also said that the average listing had 5 offers, minimum 5 offers.
And you and I both know that.
And the better the property, the more the offers, all of that. So the houses that have been on the market for a while, they're not going to have multiples, or they may have 1 or 2.
Right.
I'd be interested in knowing what the average number of offers was on a house in 2020 versus 2019. We should check that out.
I definitely agree with you. I can say that 2019 to 2020, it was, let's say, an average of 30 days in the market, right?
Right.
And it went from 30 to like 1 day because we were so short on inventory, especially here in the Northeast in Connecticut.
Yeah.
It became, after when COVID hit, as you all know, everybody shut their doors. And once that door shut, there were still people that had to buy a house. And when people still need to buy a house and the market being shut down for a week or two, it went chaos because now a house comes in the market, boom, everybody comes running to that house. It's going to be the same way for 4 or 5 years. Going back to your original question, your friend or one of your clients talking, do not hold back. You're just going to pay more money. If you're waiting to buy a house, you're going to pay more money or the same. And who knows what the rates are going to be?
It's going to be, well, you have the rates. I mean, with the market being the way it is, the interest rates may or may not go down. I don't know. But with inflation and everything, who knows? They're talking about in a worst case scenario, you may bump up some,
right?
But
yeah, is
it still worth it at that point? I would imagine it is
all day long
because the houses are just holding their value.
Well, it's like going to the grocery store. The cost of fruit and vegetables more than they've ever been before. Would you stop eating fruits and vegetables? No, that might be different for you because I know how much you love.
Yeah, fruits and vegetables are fine in my house. They don't last very long because they don't get there. No, but it was like when I worked on Wall Street briefly, 15 years or so. It was like Microsoft stock. It was like, okay, well, it's a little high. It's a little high. I'll wait till it comes down, and then I'll buy it. And the same thing with Pfizer and with Apple. And yeah, okay. Well, it never came down.
Right. So. Now it's
so I never jumped on it.
Right. Absolutely. You got to buy right. Buy today, or you never know what tomorrow's going to be. Right.
Well, I do have Microsoft though, and Disney did well.
Disney is always a good stock. When that market crashed, that was a great time to buy it because it's going to only go up. Disney is a place that everybody loves to go to. If you've never been to Disney, I mean, that's a place that everybody just smiles and is full of love.
Never been.
No?
Never been.
We're actually thinking about taking Drew down there a little early. We took Danny down when he was 8. We thought it would be good to wait so he could enjoy it more. I think that girls maybe mature faster a little bit than boys do, just a possibility.
So you're saying the equivalent of an 8-year-old boy is a 4-year-old girl?
I'm going to say that might be close. Yeah, I'm going to say so. I think that they also, that whole Disney princess thing.
You get a lot of complaints from the men out there.
I might get a lot, but they might also agree. And they might say, if I have a daughter today, that I'm going to be different than my son was. Or not. Let's see.
You just want to get back. That's why.
I definitely want to go back to Disney. I think it's a lot. It's just one of those places when you go there, you're just in a good mood. You're just happy. And maybe we could do a family trip together. That'd be kind of cool.
I don't do Disney. We did Universal.
Well, Disney, Universal, Epcot, I call it Disney's a whole, but I know it's different. It's different.
But we're off topic.
We are off topic.
Real estate. This is about real estate.
This is about real estate, about families, about fun. We have any questions coming out
Pat
there?
Pagano has a question. Pat. Who benefits most on this market? First-time buyers or not?
You want to answer that one, or should I try?
Well, it's So it's funny because the second time buyer, so first time buyer is probably buying like a starter house or something like that. So their cost variables are going to be lower.
That's a good point.
If you're talking about who's a second buyer, a third time buyer, they're either on the way up, where they're upsizing their house, or they're downsizing.
And if they've got the equity in their house because they're making so much money, so they actually almost making a lateral move because they're putting more money down that they have available to. So let's say somebody, I'm talking so fast, I apologize.
No.
So let's say somebody bought their first house, let's say 200, 2.25, or 150 to 250, right? They're selling their house now. They're making 25% of their home, and they've probably paid their house down over the last 5 to 7 years if they've lived that long there. They've got a decent amount of money to put down, and their next house they're buying is between probably 350 and 450 on average. They're going down to that 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, a little more property. Maybe they got 2-car garage versus one, and they've got the ability to buy that house, and their mortgage payment is not that much higher than it was before.
No, because if they bought 10 years ago,
yes,
they weren't buying at the rates that there are now.
That's right.
So unless they had an 8,000 credit score and we're putting 20% down,
yes,
then their mortgage was probably not what it would be in today's interest rates.
I agree with you 100%. And 8,000 credit score would be amazing, by the way. I'm not even sure. I hear that the number changes in the credit score. What exactly is the highest? I was told at one point 800, then 820, then 850. I don't even know what the highest credit score you can get is.
I'm working with an 801 right now.
That's We never see people in 800s of credit score. You don't need it, but if you have it, basically you're like I don't know, like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. You can do whatever you want. Anyway,
yeah, that was not the song. I get where you were going with that. You didn't make it.
All right. So let's talk about the market and what happened in 2008 to 2010. The market crashed, right? And there was a housing. What?
But why?
But why? We had more real estate. We had more homes in the market than ever before. And what happened was you can get your house and buy a house basically with a crayon and a pencil, and nobody had to verify income and anything like that. Where today, to actually get a loan, you need to have a handful of items you need to have. All right. First of all, let's go back to
didn't they do away with some of the loans that kind of caused that?
Yep. Subprime. Good point. And people were overstretching their budgets. Absolutely. Because you could. No one checked on it. Today, the people who are checking on you, the mortgage brokers, the underwriters, the government, they have these loan to value that you have to keep up with. You have to debt to income. You have to make sure that your income documentation is all meeting the guidelines for the government in order to get a mortgage. And with that being said, that makes it difficult to get a mortgage today, much harder than it ever was before. So in order to buy a house, you are verified, right? Yep. We had Mandy on here, Mandy Miller, guaranteed rate. We had Michael Cristoforo, guaranteed rate. Love the company, by the way. And we had Jose Vladimir Lopez on here talking about all the things that are going on in buying a house today. And it's really about making sure that you can buy a house, right?
Yeah. Remember, I know you were talking about, March, April, May of last year, where they were doing verification of employment on the day of closing.
Yes.
On the day of closing.
They wanted to make sure you still had a job. Yep. You weren't skipping town.
Yeah, employment was so fluid.
Yes.
That people were like, yeah, no, you're not getting this loan until we can verify that you still have a job, the same job you started this process with on the day of the closing.
It made things a little stressful because getting in touch with sometimes these employers, like if you work at Yale and you have the, what's it called over there? The human resource department.
Yep.
Somebody's out. And that was it.
Well, that was the thing is at least in some of the early stages or when there was the actual shutdown, you couldn't call the HRs because the HRs weren't at work.
Nobody was there.
They were working from home or they weren't working at all.
Yeah.
So it pushed closings a little bit too.
It definitely created a lot of drama for us. We don't like drama. We like to keep things very smooth and fluid.
Not for us, for you.
For you. For us. For both of us, absolutely, because your stress is our stress.
But it's our job to minimize your stress.
Absolutely, as much as we can. Take those grenades out of the equation. Talking about
put in what?
Put in smile on your face.
Smiles
on your face. We got 5 minutes left over here, Jonathan.
5 minutes. Get the 5-minute warning.
All right, 5-minute warning. So let's talk about the supply in 2006. We had a record amount of overbuilt homes. 2.1 million homes were in surplus back in 2006. which of course
is that new builds?
New builds.
Wow.
And which created, of course, that problem we had where the market crashed, right? In today's market, we're looking at over here a shortage. We talked about this before earlier in the conversation. 4.8 million homes shortage. I think I said 4.8 million homes are in shortage today, which creates a phenomena or chaos in our real estate market. But that being said, don't be discouraged, because you know what? You're going to get a home. You may go at it and be there 2, 3, 4, 5 times making offers. You listen to your realtor. Come as equipped as possible financially. Make sure you have plenty of cash in hand. You're going to need the deposit. You're going to need the closing cost money. You need to make sure that you are ready to go, right here, ready to go.
Inspection money, appraisal money.
Exactly right. Eye the tiger. And with that being said, when you're ready to go, you're going to put everything in a way that the seller is going to see it and go, you know what? That's my buyer. That's my buyer because they love my house as much as we did. Or we love that buyer because they made us the best offer.
Remember, the highest offer is not always the best offer.
Almost always, but not always. Conditions apply.
Well,
but then look at your buyer just now. Oh my God, they put out $80,000.
Right, but the terms, sometimes it's the terms. Some folks are giving money above the appraisal.
Right. That is.
Some are waiving the inspection altogether.
I could see waiving an inspection if you have city water, city sewer. The house is built fairly. Well, actually, no. I'll be honest with you. The best homes, in my opinion, that were built between the 40s and 80s.
Well, I was just going to say. The majority of the houses that we see are mid-century.
Yeah,
40s by far mid-century.
40s to 80s are the best built homes, in my opinion. Somewhere between the 80s and 90s, again, what happened was they started building homes so much faster, right? And they were the quality of construction. People who own those houses have to do so much more work to those houses when they live there. They found that to be a little bit less insulated. They didn't use as good windows as they used before. They replaced their roof sooner. So those people really took a hit on the chin between 80s and 90s, right. I think, with the construction they had in their houses. They were building homes, boom, 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 so fast. Anyway, all right. So we want to thank you so much for being with us today. Please and thank you so much. Join us every week, every Tuesday, 5 o'clock. We have a special gift to offer every week. If you're watching, listening, if you've signed up with us on Instagram, right? Please do that. If you haven't done so, please share with your friends and family. We love to be in front of you. We love talking with you. We want to answer your questions. By the way, I'm not sure we got all the Pat's questions. I forgot what those questions were. Was there any more questions we should have finished asking? No, we're good? Okay. So thank you, Pat, by the way, for asking questions. We appreciate that very much. Follow us on TikTok, Team Powerhouse. Oh my gosh,
Team Powerhouse Cells.
Yes. Please follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We have a team page, my personal page, Erik's page. Follow us, watch us, and reach out to us if you have any questions. Don't hesitate. We're always going to be here for you.
And don't forget, if there is interest in the bourbon or microbrewery subject, let us know, because I would totally like to do one of those.
There's a guy, by the way, in Cheshire. His name is Ron. He owns Premier. Him and Donna. They're such nice people.
Right.
He's a pretty knowledgeable guy when it comes to bourbon, scotch, and whiskeys. I will tell you, he's the kind of guy that every time you walk in there, if there's something you want, he will get it for you. And one more thing about Ron. We were actually in bourbon country, and my buddy Chris was like, "Hey, Ron, do you have this, or can you get this?" He's like, "Got it." Went over, showed it to him. Right. We're at Four Roses, and they have this special edition. I forgot which one it was. So maybe we'll bring on Ron from Premier, or
maybe we'll do it from there.
Ooh, that could be a cool idea.
With a cooler or something.
Yeah, maybe do a tasting while we're actually there. I'll have to talk to Ron about that. See if he's up for it.
Yeah.
Do a tasting at the place and have a live show.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
If anybody out there is involved in this industry and can help us out or wants to be on spotlighted here on the show, please let us know. We want to bring you guys out here to have some fun with us, and we're excited to see you next week. Bringing on your cousin over there. That'd be awesome. It could be a lot of fun. And his name again is?
Peter Anthony.
Peter Anthony. Love it. All right, Jonathan, who we got this week up for a tumbler?
We have...
I don't hear the spin.
Yeah, I don't hear the spin.
You don't hear the spin. Chaos is a ladder 75. I assume this person is from TikTok. I will send them a message right now.
All right. If you are listening to the show,
Dave,
yes,
mute your phone.
That's mine.
Phone?
Eric,
It's,
mute your
it's out
phone.
of reach. I can't get to it.
Maybe that's cast as a
The
ladder.
sooner we wrap up, the sooner that phone will stop making noises. So go.
All right, fine.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us here today. It is Tuesday. Next week is our Halloween special. Sorry about the mishap with today's episode not being at the Vanguard Cigar Club, but we're gonna get back to you with Ian.
Well, we'll definitely reschedule that because I was looking forward to it.
I can't wait to get back there. He's a
I
great
haven't
guy.
had a cigar since the ones he brought in. So
It'll be a lot of fun. Definitely good stuff. Thank you so much again for joining us here today, and I want to wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, and good night.